Hello, my dear students. In this particular PPT session, we will be discussing the remaining part of the poem Unknown Citizens, which we have discussed in the session 1. So, in this session, we also got some learning objectives and also we have some learning outcomes. After listening to the poem completely, you will be able to comprehend the poem and write your own reviews based on your understanding. Let us have a small recapitulation of the previous session, what we have discussed already in the first session of this poem. In the first session of this poem, we have discussed about the poet, introduction to the poem, and the various themes of the poem, and explanation of the lines from 1 to 21. So, in this present session, we are having the following contents to be discussed further: the unknown citizen's societal life, how he was living in a society, and how his societal life was, and also about the lines 22 to 29. And also, we'll have a conclusion about this poem, and also we'll be discussing analysis of the poem, and at last we'll have a session summary, and at last slide we'll have references of the poem. The unknown citizens societal life. What do you mean by societal life? We are all surrounded by a society. In the society we could see so many people in the name of neighbors or friends, relatives. Right? uh, a society includes each and every person of the state, and also it includes some animal beings and so on. The particular poem Unknown Citizen takes the reader through the lifetime of an ordinary man and what happens to him in the end. Unknown Citizen, he was an ordinary man, and he did not have any special fame or name in his life, and he led such an ordinary life, and he was called a common or ordinary man. And what happens to him in the end? We also came to know that he dies at the end, and he led such a happy life. Throughout his life, he was quite happy, and he did not have any dissatisfaction towards the state or any towards his state. Auden focuses on how the problems that his man faces are not uncommon ones, but they are still significant enough to make him feel as though his life was wasted by the time he dies. According to poet, he has wasted, the unknown citizen has wasted his precious time, his precious days. He dies only a common man. He dies as only an ordinary person. As per the speaker, the man had proper opinions for the time of year. He believed whatever the government compelled him to think. He had to follow the rules and regulations that were imposed by the government, and he believed in those regulations and rules. He believed whatever the government compelled him to think, and he used to follow honestly the rules and regulations which were which were imposed by, which were implemented by the government. The man had a typical wife and 5 children. The man had a typical wife, and he had 5 children, and he was quite happy with this family of 6, including him. There were 7 members in his family, which was normal for a parent of his generation. In those days, having 5 or 4 or 6 children, it was common for everyone in those generation, in those days. So, as a parent, he was very happy with his family. So, lastly, the speaker raises a question: was he free? Was he happy? The speaker refers to the poet himself. He raises at the last some questions. Was the unknown citizen really free, or was he really happy? The final lines of the piece bring great attention to the absurdity of the man's premise. The speaker, as if defending himself, states that the question of whether the citizen was free or happy is absurd, and will not have any clear idea about these two questions. We don't get answer. Really, was he free, or really was he happy? So these questions remain in absurd manner, and he was certainly happy, otherwise he should have home. So the poem ends with the poet, the citizen, the unknown citizen was really certainly happy with his life. And if we come for the conclusion part of this poem, the unknown citizen is written in a clear and simple style and is free from obscure references which we find in a considerable measure in audience poetry. It makes its appeal effectively by virtue of its simplicity, directness, and the humorous vein. It constitutes a true and sincere commentary on an aspect of the life of the modern man to which he will have to find a serious thought before it is too late. And at last, we'll have analysis before going to have session summary. We'll have some analysis of the poem. The Unknown Citizen, it was written in the year 1940. It was published in the year 1940. Is one of the Auden's famous poems. It is renowned for its wit and irony. We could see wit and irony in this poem. In complaining about the anonymous qualities of bureaucratic, semi-socialist Western societies, its structure is that of a satiric elegy, as though the boring unknown citizen was so utterly unremarkable that the state honored him with a poetic monument about how little trouble he caused for anyone. In the session summary, this poem, in a straightforward manner, W.H. Auden implies that in such a society where a man has to live for the greater community, man becomes a mere mechanical to the various social and economic institutions which take control of him. Man in this modern society is forced to fulfill ridiculous obligations to his employers, unions, social psychology, and press. And following are the references from which I have taken all this information from the textbook that you are studying for this semester is called uh, Resplendence, Board of Editors, approved by the Board of Studies in English, University of Mysore. And also I have taken some information from the website www.englishliterature.info and also from the website www.bodnan.com. So thank you, my dear students, for watching this session regarding the poem, The Unknown Citizen. Thank you so much.